everyone, it's Heidi from HB Paper Crafts. Welcome to my regular Tuesday live. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. We are chugging along closer and closer to fall here in northern New Hampshire. I'm not ready for it. It always means the white stuff comes shortly behind it. Alright, so just looking to make sure we are connected, not having any technical difficulties here. I hope that you all have had a great start to your week. We have had some gorgeous weather this summer. We really can't deny that for sure here in New Hampshire. As always, I want to thank you for coming out and sharing your Tuesday evenings with me. If you're watching on the replay, thank you to you as well. Just working to get this up on my computer screen so I can see comments as we plug along here. I can see people jumping on, but my video doesn't want to pop up. Technology. Come on. Alright, so I have a couple of things to share before we jump into tonight's projects. And it always gives everyone just a chance to find us in their news feeds and join in if they wish. First, as I've mentioned in my previous lives, the Stampin' Up! Online store has been completely revamped, so if you haven't had a chance, make sure you go and check it out. They've made it much more user-friendly and upgraded a bunch of features, and it's super awesome. I know I've talked about this wish list in my prior videos before, but the wish list feature is really cool. You can go on, add things to your wish list, and actually email your wish list link to anyone you want. So hubby wants to know what you want for Christmas, you can email him that link and he can shop right from there. It's the coolest thing. They've really done a great job upgrading some stuff. Well, I am flying blind. I don't know what's going on here. My computer doesn't want to catch up to me. I also want to share some upcoming events with you. On Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m., we'll be doing another online mystery stamping challenge. So if you joined my mystery stamping challenge previously, it was a lot of fun. So basically on the 26th, I'll post clue number 1. It's a clue. It's basically a list of supplies that you'll need to gather, and join me for the live event on the 27th at 7 p.m. where we basically use those supplies and we create a card. So everybody's card uses the same instructions, but no two look alike. It's really kind of fun. It's a cool way to get your juices flowing and just to share some creativity with you. So come by and check it out. Again, on the 27th, I will post clue number 1, which is the gathering your supplies clue. And then August 27th at 7 p.m. I'll be live here on Facebook to go through the rest of the clues and to put your cards together. I don't know. Serious technical difficulties tonight. It's horrible. Alright, so next Wednesday, September 9th, return of my in-person classes. Whoop whoop. If you're one of my locals, watch your email for further details. I will be emailing out that information. And then Thursday, September 17th, I'm going to have another online bingo event, 6 to 8 p.m. Everybody asked for it, and I decided I was going to go ahead and do that again. So the cost of the online bingo event is $25 per person, and you must register by September 4th to get the free make and takes. So we'll be doing 3 or 4 projects that evening, and I'm offering the make and takes for free if you register by September 4th. And again, cost of the event is $25 per person. Go ahead and email me for more information or to register for the event. And let's see, I think I finally got there. Alright, so last but not least, shop using this host code. This is the August host code. If you shop using this host code in your order of $35, oh my goodness gracious, words are hard. Use my August host code with your order of $35 or more, and you'll earn a free gift from me. I'm also, for August, entering anyone who has a $35 or more order into a drawing for a $50 gift certificate to be used in my retired items shopping folder. So, who doesn't like free stuff, right? So check that out, and if you have an order, use the host code there. Right. Goodness. Alright, I can see everybody. Yay! Hi Sue, hi Shelly, hi Angela, hi Pam, hi Marie. Oh, my favorite night of the week. You're so sweet, Pam. I am glad that you come out and watch with me. Or watch me, and we create together. I can finally see all your comments. It took me forever. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, we're here. We're here and we're good. Also, don't forget to use, when you're shopping, don't forget to use your July bonus coupon. So if you ordered bonus coupons in July, you want to make sure to get those used up because they're only good through the end of August. Alright, so I posted today. I see quite a few of you on here. Hi Marie. That I am using a Healing Hug set. Yeah, it's a bit of an older set, but it's one of my favorites. I absolutely adore the distinctive rose in this stamp set, and the phrases as well. So I have a couple of really awesome projects for you this evening. And we're going to start with this one here. I have just this simple fold card using the tin tile embossing folder, along with the Healing Hug stamp, and there is of course going to be some fussy cutting. I know. Can you all see me? I hope you can see me. My computer is saying having trouble with this video. I don't know if anybody's there, but I'm gonna keep plugging along as if I can see you. Alright, so we're using the Healing Hug stamp set. This is our first project for the evening. I absolutely adore the rose in this set. Okay, I think I got you guys back. Don't know what's happening to my internet. It's horrible. It's horrible here. Alright, so I'm going to recreate this card, but I wanted to switch up the colors. I love this color here is Blushing Bride. I use the Blushing Bride and some Rococo Rose, which I'll show you what I'm doing with the second color here in a second. This time I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm going to use Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Bay. So the first thing that I did is I have a card. You can choose two different ways. So this card here, I did a top fold card, which is 4 1/4 by 11, and it's folded in half. So you get two out of a sheet of 8 1/2 by 11. Or if you fold, if you cut the other way, you have a piece of paper that's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and that's going to give you a side fold card. So either way you choose, you'll get two cards out of one 8 1/2 by 11 piece of paper. So I'm just going to fold that in half and give it a good burnish. So this is going to be, and I think I'm going to try it this way this time. So I'm going to switch it right up. So then I have a piece of Whisper White that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and I ran it through my tin tile. I ran it through my die cut machine with the tin tile embossing folder, which is absolutely gorgeous, and it's just white on white. So I just ran it through. It gave it so much dimension. I love this folder. and we're going to start with that first. So I'm going to take my piece that I embossed, and I am going to take some Coastal Cabana ink here, and let me get a piece of scrap paper, which is right in front of my face here. Alright, so I'm going to take my little blending brush here that I have, and I'm going to ink it up in some of this Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to just ink it up pretty good, and then I'm going to tap off on this piece of scrap paper, and then I'm going to give myself just a little bit here, and I'm going very light-handed, and I'm just sort of giving myself a little blue in the background, like this. That's probably all I need. So I did the same thing with the Blushing Bride. You can see it's a little more subtle in the pink. But once you put some ink on the background, it really makes it pop off the page even more. So it's super pretty. Alright, so I'm going to clean my brush off a little bit here. I'm also going to take, because, you know, we can't live well enough alone, I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of ink into the cover of my ink pad. And I'm going to take one of our new watercolor brushes, and I'm just going to make sure I got, whoops, that's a little too much. Make sure I get a little bit of water on my brush, and I'm going to dab it into the ink here. And then I'm going to take the end of the cap, like you've seen me do before, and I'm actually just going to flick it. Guess we need a little bit more here. And I'm going to flick it onto my background. So it's just going to give it just even a little bit more fun. Okay. Alright, so then we're just going to clean off the brush here. You want to clean it until it's clear so that when you go to use it next time, you're not mixing all your colors up, and then it's good to go. Alright, so I'm going to set my brush aside, and we're going to set this aside to dry. Alright, so next I am going to use the rose that's in the set here, this distinctive rose, and I'm going to ink it up in the Coastal Cabana. So I have a piece of Whisper White. I'm going to ink up the Coastal Cabana here. I'm also going to take the Bermuda Bay. So Bermuda Bay is just a little bit darker. It's darker than the Coastal Cabana. I can show you on the ends here. You can see it's just a little bit darker. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to get sort of even more dimension with this stamp. And we've done this before if you've seen my videos. I've done this on some other stamps before, but I'm just going to ink this up, as I said, with the Coastal Cabana. I'm going to go in with my sponge dauber, my finger dauber, and I'm just going to go around the edge a little bit with the Bermuda Bay, and then just in a couple of spots on the inside where I want just a variation of color. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp that here. And not only is it may not come up on video, but not only is it the distinctive stamp, but it's got some color variations in it as well, which is super pretty in real life and adds even more life to your distinctive stamps. Alright, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to close these. Alright, while we have the Whisper White out, I'm also going to take the, I guess we're going to call it like a skeleton leaf out of the set as well, and I'm going to stamp that 3 times on my Whisper White. Like that. And then I'm going to leave this out here, just going to open it up, and I'm going to take my water brush again, make sure it's good and clean, and I'm going to just pick up a little bit of color and water, and I'm just going to paint these in. You don't want to be super heavy-handed because of course this isn't watercolor paper, so you put too much water on it and it will pill up on you, but just a little bit. And they don't have to be perfect, they're leaves, so the color variation is okay. It's how it's supposed to go. And we're just going to paint those in. So I'm just picking up a little bit of the color and painting in the leaves on each of these. Like so. Alright, so I'm going to clean off my brush again here. And we'll close this up. And then I did go ahead and I fussy cut these pieces out. So I went ahead and I did this already. And I've cut out my flower and my leaves here like this. Alright, so those are good to go. We can set those aside. Alright, next step is I have a piece of basic black, and the black here measures 3/4 by 2 3/4. I'm going to end up cutting it down a little bit, but I'm using the Sending You Healing Vibes. That's also in this stamp set. And I'm going to use Versamark on this one. So Versamark is just basically a watermark ink, but it's also really good for embossing because it stays tacky for quite some time. So it's good for embossing powders. I'm going to take my Sending You Healing Vibes and I'm going to attempt to get it straight. And it doesn't look like anything now because of course we have it on black paper. But I'm going to take my white embossing powder and a piece of scrap paper, and I'm just going to dump the embossing powder over the top of it and flick off the excess there. So then we have our little our little sentiment with the white embossing powder. We will put that back in there, and I'll get rid of this. And we'll make sure to cover this up because I have been known to make a mess. I know, say it isn't so. I turned on my heat gun once and blew it everywhere. So I'm going to turn on my heat gun, give it a second to warm up, and then it'll melt that embossing powder. Once the heat gun is warmed up, it takes just a couple seconds to melt your embossing powder down. You can tell when it goes from that powdery consistency to a shiny color that it's all melted. And there we go. Alright, so I took my snips here and I just sort of gave it an angle cut there. And I also did go ahead and I cut it down just a little bit so that it wasn't too wide and covering up too much of my flower. Alright, last but not least, I took our sprig punch here, and out of that Whisper White scrap, I'm just going to go ahead and punch a couple of the sprig. And now we have all of our pieces. Now I'm ready to go ahead and assemble. So I'm going to take back out my Coastal Cabana cardstock here. Here is my embossed background piece. I always like to use the tear tape on embossed pieces. I think it works really well to make sure everything sticks down. You could also use the liquid glue. I just seem to go to tear tape when I have an embossed background. I think it works the best for me. Alright, then I'll take my Take Your Pick tool. These are the bee's knees here. for getting the back off of your tear tape. Alright, and then this guy is going to get adhered right here. Like so. Alright, so then I'm going to take my rose and decide. I'm going to put it right about there. And I'm going to put a little bit more tear tape on either side of the rose, just so I can start gluing down my little embellishments, my little leaves and my sprigs there. I'll put a piece on either side, and I'll pull up the backing. Like this. Now the sprigs, I actually went ahead and I just tore them apart so that I have actually pieces that I can piece in where I want. You can leave them together, whatever your personal preference is. That's just how I ended up doing it. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and piece it all together here. Put one here, one here, and I'm gonna stick a sprig in there and up here. And then we will, whoops, might need a little bit more here. Then we'll do the same on the other side. I'm going to put my leaf and stick a sprig in there, and then another one down here. Like that. And then that's going to go right there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get some dimensionals. And now that you've got all those pieces on the back, you can go ahead and sandwich them in. I like to sandwich them in with dimensionals. That's going to keep them there. There we go. Alright, so let's take these off. And then this is going to go right here. And then last but not least, our little heat embossed Sending You Healing Vibes. I'm going to hit it with some liquid glue here on the end where it's hitting the flower. And I'm just going to set it right there and see if it's straight. There we go. And there we go. There is our little Sending You Healing Vibes with this beautiful Healing Hug stamp set. Not sure which color I like most. They're so pretty. I just love that tin tile background. It's really pretty. Anyway, which one do you like best? I don't know. I like the muted of the pink, but I really do like that Coastal Cabana. Alright, so there is project number 1. Well, let's set that aside. Alright, second project. You know me, had to do something 3D. So I have this cute little For All You Do matchbox type box that actually has a hand cream in it. So this is just this one is French Lavender and Citrus, just a little hand cream that I found at the store. And I have a second one. This one is Coconut Oil and Sea Salt. So we're just going to make a little box, just a little gift, a little fun gift to give to somebody, a little pick me up. This one says For All You Do. You can use any sentiment that you want, and of course switch it up. This box you could use for all kinds of different stuff. So alright, we're gonna start with some, I have Sahara sand here, and I have two pieces. I have one that is 5 3/4 by 8 1/2, and I have one that is 7 1/4 by 10 1/2. So we'll start with the smaller piece, the 5 3/4 by 8 1/2. And I'm going to get out my scoreboard here. On the long side, we're going to score it at 1 1/2, at 2 7/8. So it's just one tick mark before the 3. At 5 1/4, and at 6 5/8, which is just one tick mark after the 1/2 inch. And the reason we're dealing in 8s is just to give it enough room so that it's not super tight to the box underneath. Alright, so then that's all scored. We're going to take the larger piece, which is 7 1/4 by 10 1/2. On the short side, I'm going to score it at 1 1/4, at 2 1/2, at 4 3/4, and at 6. And then we're going to rotate, and on the long side, we're going to score it at 1 1/4, at 2 1/2, at 8, and at 9 1/4. Alright, as always, when I'm making boxes, I always have myself a little template. So this is the template that I made for this box and for the cutting of it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out what I need to cut here. I also like to make a template for you guys for a visual, which I think is always helpful. I know it helps me when I'm making a project. So these little tabs that we're cutting here, I'm going to angle cut as we do when we're making 3D boxes. That's going to give you the ability to just maneuver your box around a little bit so that it fits together better. And we're going to angle cut and angle cut. This box seems like it's difficult, but it's really not. Once you put it together, you'll find all kinds of uses for this little matchbox. Matchbox box. I designed it this size for the hand cream, but I'm pretty sure, well, maybe not a gift card. Maybe it's not quite wide enough for a gift card. It might be wide enough for a gift card. But you could put some treats in there, put some money in there, all kinds of different stuff will fit. It's a pretty good size once it's done. Alright, last one. We'll give these a little bit of a haircut. Alright, now we are ready to assemble. Alright, so I'm going to take my template out of my way here. And we're done with the scissors. Let's get rid of my mess here. And we're going to pull out some glue and my bone folder. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to burnish all of my lines, because of course we want some crisp, clean edges when you're making boxes. It's key. sort of made this so that it was extra sturdy, so when you're pulling it in and out of the outside piece, you don't have to worry about it tearing on you. Alright, so all of them are burnished. The first thing that we're going to do, let's get a little extra there. First thing we're going to do is put glue on each of these 4 tabs. So we're going to go here, and here, and here, and here. Oop, a little sloppy with it there. Alright, so there is that. Get this off my fingers so I don't have it everywhere. And now I'm going to just lift this up and pull this side to this side. So on the outside, you're going to make sure that these are lined up here. And you're just going to hold it for a second. And then we're going to do the same on all 4 sides. We're going to pull them up to the little tab. And we're going to make sure they're square on the outside. And here. And make sure that it's square. And we're going to hold it for just a second. Alright, so now these pieces can be folded out of your way. And now on this side, they're each going to get some glue. So we're going to go on all 4 sides. Almost time for new glue again. Alright, so then all we're going to do is fold these down in. So you're going to fold these down on the inside and adhere it to itself, and you're covering up those little tabs. So I'm going to do the long sides first, and then I'm going to do the short sides like this and like this. And those are going to fit in there pretty snug, so you won't really have to hold them. I'm just going to go around with my bone folder though and make it, press it all down in and make it really square. And there we go. So there's our inside box. My little hand cream fits in there perfectly. And now we're going to do the outside. So I did those 4 score lines there. I'm going to go ahead with the same. I'm going to burnish them like this. Like this. And last but not least, like this. So then you're going to go ahead and you're actually going to fold this flat, and you're going to put a little bit of glue on this tab here. So then once you fold it over, it's not going to go all the way to the edge, but this is the part that's going to glue together. So I'm going to do that by just hitting it up here, making sure not to go all the way down to the first score mark, because we don't want glue all over the inside of our box. It's just overlapping by about 3/4 of an inch or so. So we want to make sure we don't go beyond that. Alright, so we'll make sure that that's good and glued together. And then we can pop it back up, and there's the outside of our box. So the seam's going to go on the bottom, and the box slides right in. So there's our little matchbox box. You could take, if you had a little punch, you could take a little bite out of one side. If you wanted, you could staple a ribbon, or you could punch a hole and tie a ribbon so that you had a little pull if you wanted to. That would work as well. So there's our little box. Now we're going to start on the decoration. Alright, so I have a bunch of pieces and parts here. The piece of Whisper White that I have is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a couple pieces of Designer Series paper. This one happens to be, this one is the Regals 6x6 Designer Series paper. Again, have all these fun prints this year. The words, the polka dots, and then there's like a wood grain, and I can only think of acid wash. It's like a fabric color, but it reminds me of the 80s acid wash. It's like a fabric-y, anyway, yes. So that, and then there's the wood grain in this paper as well. So this is what I chose because I'm using rich raspberry. I picked out a piece of the wood grain paper, and you only need, these are 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/4 inches. They're just going to get adhered underneath on the ends here, so you don't really even need that much. It just happened to be what I cut off. I have a scrap of Granny Apple Green. This one's 1/2 inch by 3.5 inches, and then I have a couple of pieces for my sentiment, just in case I mess up the first one. These happen to be 3/8 of an inch by 2.5 inches. The sentiment that I'm using is out of the Ornate Thanks. And these sentiments here are pretty narrow, and I like the 3/8 width with these one-line sentiments. I think it works out perfectly, but I love the font on these, so these are what I decided that I was going to use. Alright, so first we're going to use this piece of the Whisper White, and I am going to take out that distinctive rose again, and I'm going to clean it off because I still have Coastal Cabana on there. I didn't switch up the colors on this one. I could have. You could certainly do it in any color that you wanted. And let's see. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I am going to take the rich raspberry here. Now with these distinctive stamps, sometimes you have to be careful that your ink pad is not too juicy. And all you have to do is take, let's see, where did I put my ruler? Well, we'll use this one here. So you can use the back of a spoon, you could use any number of things, but all you have to do is take your whatever device you are using, this happens to be a ruler, and you pull some of that ink. You don't want to go too hard, you don't want to ruin your ink pad, but you pull some of that ink to the side, and that's going to give you a nice area to stamp your distinctive stamps with. If they're too juicy, then it's just going to come out as a blotchy mess, and you're not going to be happy with your distinctive stamps. But if you pull some ink away, you'll be much happier. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink up my rose in that spot where I cleared up some ink so it wasn't too overly juicy. And then I'm going to stamp my rose right here towards the left hand side. Gorgeous! Love, love, love this rose. Alright, so now I'm going to take some Granny Apple Green, put that one away, and I'm going to take the leaves that come in this set. There's a second set of leaves, so we used the sort of skeleton-y leaf here. Now we're going to use the distinctive leaves that come in this set, and I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green and ink those up. I already pulled away some ink on this pad, so these were stamping pretty well. And I'm just going to stamp my leaves in a couple of spots. So here, we're going to go over here, and then I did do some, let me get my scrap paper here again, because I'm going to go off the edge, I think, a little bit on this one. Hi, Kathy! And I'm going to stamp that one down here. Alright, so I just gave myself a few of those leaves in the Granny Apple. And I'm going to cover it up. Alright, so I actually thieved this idea. No, I cased this idea, let's say, from something that I saw in the catalog. I love how they did the blue around the flower. It just sort of made it stand out a little bit, gives it like a little artsy shadow around it. So I'm going to do that by using my blends. So I have here the Pool Party Light, the Pool Party Dark, and then I have the Color Lifter. So we're going to start with the Dark Pool Party. And I'm just going to go, you don't want to go over the flower or too much onto the leaves, because you don't want to pull any of that ink off. I'm just going to follow along and give the whole image a little sort of shadow around it with the Dark Pool Party. And I meant to have some of this done before the video, so, you know, life, that didn't happen. So I'm just going to go all the way around. It's not going to be perfect, it's just giving a little bit of a shadow effect. Thanks, Sue. I love the Razzleberry. The Razzleberry, the Blackberry Bliss, they stamp this rose really gorgeous in those colors. And of course it looks really good with Pool Party. Alright, so I've given my whole image sort of a little shadow in the Dark Pool Party. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Light Pool Party and I'm going to blend into the dark, and I'm going to go out even farther. So I'm just going to go, no rhyme or reason, just go out a little bit more and give it even more of a little cloud around it. Blending in the dark with the light. Alright, like that. And then last but not least, I did take the Color Lifter and I just sort of hit just the very ends of the Light Pool Party, and that sort of just gave it a little bit more of a blended look into my Whisper White background. So it's just softening just the very ends of that Light Pool Party to just give it even more of a softer, shadowy look. Super pretty, right? Alright, so there is that. So we're just going to let that dry for a second. While it dries, I'm going to take back out that Rich Razzleberry. Now I used from that Ornate Thanks, I used For All That You Do. But there are so many really cute ones. You're amazing. You know, if you want to use thanks for all your help. You made my day. Just wanted to say thanks. I wasn't sure how to. Thank you. All kinds of cute ones. This from the bottom of my heart. That's super cute as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use the For All You Do again. I'm going to ink up the stamp with Rich Razzleberry. And I'm going to stamp it towards the, put something on there, I'm going to stamp it towards the right of this scrap piece that I have here. And I'm not really over it, so hope it's straight. That's not too bad. Not too shabby. Alright, and then these two pieces, I'm going to take my snips, which I threw on the floor, so let's grab another pair. And I'm going to just flag the end of the sentiment. So just cut up the middle, and then from each end to that center cut that you just did. And then on the granny apple, all I did is I sort of gave it like a little angle cut. And I decided where I wanted this to land and if I needed that much, which I don't think I do, so I'm going to cut it down just a little bit more, and I just angle cut it sort of like that. Okay, so now those pieces are all ready. Alright, so let me take back my box, and I'm going to take these 2 pieces of the Rich Raspberry Designer Series paper, and I'm going to use my liquid glue, just hit the back a little bit with the liquid glue. I'm going to go right to the end of my box, just a hair off the edges of the box there, like that. And the same on the other side. Just center these little pieces way on the very end. Not very much of that's going to show, so I just have that down. Alright, now I'm going to take the piece that I just colored with my blends, and I'm going to use the liquid glue, and that guy's just going to get centered with those Designer Series paper showing on the end there. So the beauty of liquid glue, I can manipulate this around till I get it where I want it, and then we'll get it glued down. So pretty. Love it, love it. Alright, so now I get a piece of the granny apple, and I have my little sentiment. I'm just going to put a little bit on the back here so that I can glue it to the granny apple. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to take the whole thing with the liquid glue, and I'm going to put it down here and give myself enough room for my little ribbon. Like that. Alright, so last but not least, I have a piece of, or I don't have a piece of, I have the braided linen trim, which I absolutely adore. It's very pretty. And I'm just going to make myself a little bow here. Like so. And then that's going to go on with a glue dot. And I actually might grab a couple of glue dots because this stuff is thicker than just regular ribbon. Not thicker, heavier maybe. Grab a couple of them there, and I'm just going to stick that right on the corner of my little sentiment. And there you go. There you have project number 2 with this Healing Hugs. An oldie, but well, it's not really an oldie, but a goodie anyway. I was waiting for inspiration to strike, and I guess I'm just not quite there in the Christmas mood yet, and I wanted to pull out something else that struck my creativity bone, and this was it. So I hope you enjoyed these projects this evening. The tin tile background, so super pretty, and the Healing Hugs rose. Alright, thank you guys so much for coming out and creating with me this evening. I hope you enjoyed these projects and that you will recreate them. Have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you next week. Happy stamping, everybody. Bye-bye.